Welcome back, dear learners. Let us study a beautiful poem from the pen of Kamla Das, who is known as a confessional poet and also known as the voice of woman sensibility of her own country, and whose poems actually known for the theme of love. This very particular poem that we are going to study is a hot noon in Malabar. Malabar is the name of that very particular place of Kerala where Kamla Das spent her childhood days and her even some of the years of her teenage. Why? Because this young poetess or this poetess was married only at the age of 15 to a banker Madhva Das. So before the marriage, she spent some of her years of her childhood there in Malabar, and the experiences she had there, here she is sharing with us through this beautiful poem. But before I head straightway explaining you the first 13 lines of this poem out of total 23 lines, I would like to tell you that this very particular poem was published under the title of a poetic collection called Summer in Calcutta in 1965. And bear in mind, there was a poem in that collection of poem titled A Summer in Calcutta. So, A Summer in Calcutta, first name of a poem, and A Summer in Calcutta is also the title of a poetic collection that came into print in 1965, and this poem was the part of that collection of poems. So now let's look at the first 13 lines of this beautiful poem in which the poet, that is Kamla Das, is actually recollecting the memories of a certain day she spent in Malabar. How was that very particular day, and what did she experience? And if here she is sharing with us through this very particular poem, it means she is in a nostalgia. She is missing her childhood. She is missing she's missing the days of her childhood. She's missing the memories of her own childhood, and that's why here she is sharing that very particular experience of her childhood with us through this beautiful poem. So now let's look at the first 13 lines of the poem and try to understand the emotion and feelings of this young poetess who is at present living somewhere away from her native land, and maybe she is feeling a little bit alienated. Why? Because here she is a married woman living all alone in her own in the house of her own husband, feeling alienated, and it's all because of that. Here, through this beautiful poem, recollects the memory of a day of her childhood. So now, let's look at the poem. This is a noon for beggars with whining, complaining voices. A noon for me. A noon for men who came from hills. So here she is describing a particular day and describing the happenings of that very particular day, that how she heard the beggars just complaining, or just speaking in a complaining actually voice, all right, just moving from door to door, demanding or actually asking for money, asking for charity. But the way they were speaking, it was absolutely clear that they were not happy at all. They were not happy at all with the people of that very particular place. It's all because of that there was a complaint in their own voice. See, voices are known for men who came from hills with parrots in a case and fortune cards. She says that first visitor she had on that day were the beggars. Certain number of the beggars passed or went past her house, went past the house of Kamla Das. And when Kamla heard their voice, she could easily understand that they were actually complaining. Maybe they were not happy at all with the people of that very particular place. Why? Because they did not get a kind of a positive response from them. And after that, she heard the noises, or she saw those, actually you can say, fortune tellers who came from a certain hill with their parrots and fortune cards, which they used particularly to speak about the future happenings of the life of a certain person, of the life of the people. See, all stained means such kind of actions or activities now today has what happened today become useless, all stained with time. For brown Karwa girl, so she says that in her childhood, she often met beggars standing at her doorstep, asking for charity, or asking for, you can say, alms, in a complaining voice or in a complaining just a tone. Even the fortune tellers with the parrots and the fortune cards just came from the hill, particularly to earn their livelihood, or earn their bread by telling about the fate and fortune of the people. Now she says that this kind of a practice of telling about the fortune, or telling about the happenings of the life of people by using parrots and fortune cards is useless. Why? Because this is the time of the modern world. This is the scientific world. This world is the world of technology. It's all because of that. Such kind of things of fortune telling with the help of the parrots and fortune card now find the back seat. That's why she says all stained with time. And now she talks about for brown Karwa girls, those girls with the brown color, just reddish or dark complexion, Karwa girls with old-eyed. Here she uses the word old-eyed, maybe particularly for giving particularly for telling this, that they were well experienced, since they had been reading the lines of the palm of the people for such a long time, that they had ample experience under their belt. Means they were well experienced. It's all because of that. Maybe here she is using the word old for the eyes of those Karwa girls who who were well versed in reading the lines of the palms in the light in a sing-song manner. Voices for bangle sellers who spread on cool black floor those red and green and blue bangles, all covered with the dust of roads. So here she says, first of all, she talks about the beggars. First visitors, the beggars. Second visitor, those fortune tellers with the parrots and the fortune cards. They use particularly to tell about the happenings of the life or happenings of the future of those people who just came to them as the customers, because that was a means for their earning livelihood. Third, she talks about about those karwa girls, or just girls, young girls who were well experienced in reading the lines of this palm. Why? Because you see the lines on a palm. It is said that astrology says that speak a lot about our character, speak a lot about actually the happenings of our future life, so on and so forth. So in the early, just you can say, in the early childhood of Kamla Das, people had that kind of a belief. People were superstitious. It's all because of that. Such kind of a fortune tellers, such kind of a karwa girls who were the palm readers, they came to her village. They came to the place of, they came to that very particular place where Kamla had her home, Kamla had her house, and she often saw these people. So she says that this Karwa girl with the brown complexion, with the dark complexion, why? Because they are from the South India. This is the South India. All right. Their eyes were old, and by using the word old for their own eyes, she means to say that they were well experienced in reading the lines on the palm of the people, and they well, to great extent, they knew the meaning of the lines on their palm. And after that, she talks about the bangle sellers. Bangle sellers also came, and they spread their multicolor, rainbow color, the bangles on the cool black floor in front of her own house, and she could well see the bangles. She could well see the dust settled on the bangles. See, bangles all covered with the dust of roads, miles, grow cracks on the heels, so that when they climbed up our porch, the noise was grating, annoying or irritating. So she says that since these bangle sailors just came to her own place, covering a long distance on their feet, maybe just bare feet. It's all because of walking or moving a lot on their feet. Their heels were cracked, or their heels had cracks, and it's all because of the cracked heels when they climbed up, or when they mounted on the porch or the front part of the house of Kamla Das. They produced, or their cracked feet produced, a kind of a irritating noise, and only maybe by hearing that noise of the cracked feet of the bangle sailors, she could recognize them. See, strange. She was grating strange. This is known for strangers who part the window. Drapers means you can say curtain, window, window blinds, and peer in means look in, peer means look in. Their hot eyes brimming with sun means full of sunlight or dazzled because of the sunlight, not seeing a thing in a shadowy rooms and turn away and look. So she says that she did not experience just regular visitors like beggars, fortune tellers, karwa girls, just bangle sellers, but also there were some strangers. There were strange people whom actually Kamla did not know, but those strange people had this liberty at their own disposal to look, to peep inside the house of Kamla Das by drawing the curtain, by drawing the blinds of the window to a side. But since they came from the glaring of the sun, or came from the bright sunny day, and when we come from the bright sunny day and look straight into a room that is dark, you know that our eyes find it difficult to adjust with that darkness, and we see nothing. Same happened. So when they looked inside Sir Kamla's house and could see nothing, they moved away. So see, these are the first 13 lines of this poem. I hope you may have understood. See, actually in these 13 lines, actually Kamla Das wants to share with us her experiences of her childhood. It means she is in a kind of a nostalgia. She's missing her childhood days. She somehow is not happy at all in her life at present as a young woman, living all alone in a house of her own husband, and husband is not with her, sharing time or spending time with this young woman. It's all because of that. Now this woman just decides to recollect the memories of a certain day, and she recurs the memory of that day, of her own childhood, loving and sweet childhood, by composing this beautiful poem. So these were the first 13 lines. Now let's look at the figures of speech used in this poem. This is a noun for beggars with whining voices, a noun for men who came from hills, fine voices, moon, who, from. So see, you see just sound of o, here o, here o, here. It means the repetition of vowel. O sound is here repeated. It means here alliteration is used. See, with parrots in a case and fortune cards. So see, case, cards again. See, this case begins with C, card begins with C. It means alliteration is used here. See this. See, all stained with it. So all stained with time. For brown karwa girls, fine. With old-eyed, see, old-eyed, actually their eyes were not old, actually they were actually old, you can say, or they were well experienced. Here there is a misapplication of adjective. It means here transferred epithet, since they were not all, eyes were not all. Actually those just women were well experienced, so here just transferred epithet is used. Voices for bangles, sellers who spread on cool black floor, those red and green and blue. So see, you will notice, see, sound of L, sound of L, sound of L, then again L. It means a repetition of L sound, that is consonant. So just consonants is used in this line. Yes, consonants is used. See, bangles all covered with the dust of roads, fine. Miles grow crack on the heel, so that when they clambered up our porch, the noise was grating. So grating means a noise, sound denoting word is used. It means onomatopoeia is used here also. Whining, complaining sound. So again first line onomatopoeia is used. You can say that. Strange. This noon is a noon for strangers. So see, strange, strangers. Again alliteration, who part the window, drapers and peer in their hot eyes, brimming with the sun, not seeing a thing. So here sun is used actually particularly for the sunlight part, for the whole for the part. Again see, sorry, here it is used. There is a beautiful use of, you can say that sun here stands for the sunlight, means you can say that alternative. Like I say, I'm reading Shakespeare. So actually I'm not reading Shakespeare, I'm reading a work of Shakespeare, but alternate, just you can say an alternative name. So it means metonymy is used here. Shadowy rooms and turn away and looks. So I hope, my dear learners, these 13 lines you must have enjoyed. In the next video I'll cover the remaining lines of this beautiful poem. Till then, thank you.